Well, I think I had a good understanding of money growing up. Like seeing my mom, paycheck to paycheck growing up, not really having the resources to do certain things. Even me being a well-rounded student was because I was in all these free activities, And so when I started to receive these monies, I started investing. I got my real estate license.
In college.
Wow. I took the good route.
Right.
I do have friends.
I
do have friends who they end up getting their apartment off campus, or they might have gotten a car, because a lot of these monies come directly to you.
Good idea. Now we buying merch.
That's ghetto.
Payment miss.
Ooh, the ghetto.
Say she quit.
Ooh, the ghetto.
Late on your rent.
Rent is ghetto.
New event.
Ooh, the ghetto.
Invoice in.
That ain't ghetto.
Money spin.
Oh, that's ghetto. Hold on. It's kind of ghetto being a CEO. Have you been completely isolating yourself in business? Like, you don't have people that you could do this business with. Well, you need coworkers, and that is why we created the Entrepreneurs Coworkers community. This allows you to be able to develop relationships with other people in your community. So in the Entrepreneurship Coworkers community, we give you a quiz to find out who you are and what type of CEO you are. And in this quiz, you get to meet other CEOs that may be more creative or traditional or hybrid. We have these CEOs there for you. But even taking it up a notch, we have local chapters in your city, from Atlanta to Dallas to New York to Houston to Chicago, chapters in your city where we're actually linking up every single month to work together, linking up to go to brunch together, having fun together, doing community service outreach. Like, this is a section of our life where we can really co-work and mingle with other people. It's time for you to get some coworkers, sis. And this community is completely free. Just because you're watching this podcast, all you have to do is pause the podcast, click the link below, take the assessment, get in the community, and I'll see you there. Bye, coworker. Back to the episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Ghetto CEO Podcast, where we talk about being a CEO, because y'all, nobody talks about how ghetto it is. And when I tried to figure out a word to describe being a CEO, all I can think about is it is giving ghetto. And that is what we talk about on this podcast. We don't just highlight the good part of being a CEO, because don't get us wrong, we love the freedom. We probably wouldn't go back to work, right? But it is very ghetto, okay? We don't talk about the mental anguish that we go through. We don't talk about the payroll, the bills, and all the things. But on this podcast, we give the real, because we want you to know that you are not alone. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep getting these episodes, okay? Now listen, I only bring CEOs to this couch that's gonna tell the truth, okay? And give us the raw and unfiltered peek behind their businesses. And today is no different. Welcome to the couch, Miss Victoria.
Thank you. No, I am extremely excited to be here.
Listen, I am excited for you to be here. Now listen, on most podcasts and interviews, they like, okay, Victoria, you can introduce yourself. No. We're not going to let you introduce yourself like that. How would your mom describe who you are and what you do? Like, what would she say?
Oh, yeah. My mom is extremely proud of everything that I'm doing.
Yes.
I think she would definitely say that I am that entrepreneurial child, that ambitious child, the one who doesn't take no for an answer, the one who's not scared of rejection, who just keeps going and persevering. And so she describes what I do as the person who makes free money for other people. So I make free money for both students and entrepreneurs to help fund their various projects and initiatives. So she has a great pitch for what I do. So that's literally what she would say.
I literally love it, because I always say, like, parents really don't be describing what, like, family. You be like, yeah, she out there, just out here finding money under the trees.
Yeah, no.
Like, ma'am, that is not what I do. But okay, girl, So tell them about this free money you finding for entrepreneurs. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I actually have to go all the way back to kind of like childhood. Okay. So I grew up the youngest of 4 girls. I'm raised by a single parent mom. Haven't seen my dad since I was 6. It was pretty much my mom and grandma who really like fostered our educational endeavors. Yeah. And so pretty much I knew at a very young age that college was a priority and it was an expectation within my family, but it was also very obvious that there's no way we could afford it at all. My mom's a teacher. It's 4 of us all by herself. No way. And so seeing one of my sisters, Frederica, she was a Gates scholar. She accumulated like $2.1 million in scholarships herself. Wow. And so I was like, okay, let me just do what she did times 2.
Right.
And I ended up accumulating $3 million in scholarships.
It's
So
like I gotta
look, I had to step it up because I knew I wanted to go to all these schools. I tell people all the time, like, you can get accepted to UC Berkeley, Emory, Tech, all these schools.
Yeah.
But if you don't have no money, you're not going. You're not going.
The acceptance.
And so the money was prioritized for me.
Yeah.
So what that looked like was, just growing up, my mom putting me in all these extracurricular activities. We're doing oratorical contests, research programs, everything free. Breakthrough Atlanta, everything free. Yeah. And so by the time I became a senior in high school, I was already such a well-rounded, holistic student. And that allowed me to market myself to various scholarships. And so graduating high school with $3 million in scholarships, profiting over $60,000 my first year of college, people started to ask me how I did it. And I started a business. At that time, it was securing degrees debt-free. Yeah. But everybody was like, is it debt-free degrees, securing free? I'm like, okay, it's securing degrees.
Right.
So that's how all of that was started.
I love that. Okay, so let's go back. So you said the first year of college, you made $60,000 in your business.
Yeah, no, I profited $60,000 from scholarships.
Got you. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I know.
How do you profit from scholarships? What does that mean?
So what that means and how I teach my students is we want to maximize the most amount of money we can get from the colleges first.
Got you.
So if I already can get a full ride from Emory, UC Berkeley, University of San Francisco, and I have a great story, then most likely I'm going to also get scholarships. And so it's really all about you have to apply to an abundance of scholarships. Yeah. But before you can find the success, you have to make sure that you articulate your story in a compelling, persuasive, and concise way so you can copy and paste. So literally I spent my college, spending an hour a Sunday copying and pasting essays to win more scholarships. Yeah. So that's how I profited from scholarships. It's not just me. A lot of students profit from scholarships. So you hear those students, who made $5 million, accumulated $5 million from high school. All of them, they're profiting from scholarships.
That's crazy. And nobody is talking about we talk about the refund checks.
Right.
We talk about because the refund checks went up.
They're good.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, $9,000 or something. Girl, I remember Googling, I could have opened a Subway.
Right,
I could have had a business. I was out here.
Yes.
And then where did my money go in 4 months?
For me, it went to food. A lot of my first year of college, being in San Francisco, the only chain restaurant that was familiar to me was Popeyes. Period. So I was eating Popeyes almost every week. I had my 3-piece meal. And then in San Francisco, Popeyes is $15. It's not like the little $8 in Atlanta.
No, where is the $6.99 big box?
Look, so they don't have those discounts and promos in San Francisco. So yeah, that's how the process works. It's just really continually submitting scholarships. And I have to note that I was rejected 30 times before I received my first scholarship. So I literally don't know what my life would be like had I given up on my 29th try. My entire life for the past 5 years have been funded from scholarships.
And literally from that moment, you know what I'm saying? From you keep going. So so let's go back to the money part, right? So, and I just think about the relationship with money that we had in college. Because we used to just, like you said, Popeyes every other week, right? So how have you developed your relationship with money from college? Because it feels like free money, literally. Yeah. But now you got to actually earn this free money. So how have you developed?
Well, I think I had a good understanding of money growing up. Seeing my mom, paycheck to paycheck growing up, not really having the resources to do certain things. Even me being a well-rounded student was because I was in all these free activities, And so when I started to receive these monies, I started investing. I got my real estate license.
In college?
Wow. I took the gut route.
Right.
I do have friends. I do
I
have friends who they end up getting their apartment off campus, or they might have gotten a car, because a lot of these monies come directly to you. Yes. So it's not like
you gotta ask your mama for permission.
And it's not like it's always funneled the refund check. There's a lot of my scholarships that will just cut me the check. So I think just growing up and seeing my mom kind of struggle to make ends meet, it really kind of tailored my thought process. Okay, this is the only time in my life, well, now I know grants because that's my second business, but this is the only time in my life where I can press submit and win thousands of dollars.
That's crazy. And I think one thing that we say all the time is that in when we see what we see growing up, the traumas that we see or the things that we see, you either gonna have an adverse reaction or you gonna have a whole different reaction, right? And so you either gonna lean into it or lean away from it. And so you could have been like, well, we been broke, so I mean, why
let me live it up?
Right, like it's time to shine. You know what I mean? And especially you got sisters and brothers, right? Like, so it's probably one of y'all probably may be like that, you know, but everybody has a different way that they adapt to what they see. And the fact that you were like, nah, like I gotta put this to the side.
It was honestly crazy. I think also just it's really important as an entrepreneur and CEO to have those people in your corner who see bigger than you. And so honestly, like when I first started Securing Degrees Debt Free at the time, you know, I just made an Eventbrite. I charged $5. I was DMing everybody on Twitter who were juniors and sophomores in high school at my school. And I'm like, hey, come to the library. It's $5. You'll learn how to go to school debt free. And I thought it would really just be like a library thing, you know, just every summer I do some seminars at the library and that was that.
Right.
And one of my sisters, Freddie, she was like, no, like go to your high school, see if you can partner with high school, see if you can partner with other nonprofits.
Right.
And that's really how it started was, you know, me profiting and not profiting, but me partnering with nonprofits, school districts, schools, organizations, teaching students how to get scholarships. So my idea at first was small. But my sister really brought it out in me and made me think about it on a bigger scale. And then I just kind of took off from there.
That is wild. And to imagine now, like where you are. So let's go back to college, right? So you were starting this business.
Yeah.
You were like helping people make all this money. You was that girl on campus. I
was the girl.
She's the girl that's going to find me some money. She should be my friend. But like, did you get the opportunity to enjoy college? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So did you like go out to the parties? Did you get drunk? Like, did you have the college experience too?
Yeah, well, I would say my college experience was a hybrid model, I would say. So I actually went to 3 schools in 4 years.
Okay.
All debt free. So I started off at the University of San Francisco, but after a year and a half, I was robbed at gunpoint in San Francisco. So I literally, but before that, like, again, I was that girl at San Francisco. I was partnering with the San Francisco United School District, helping students specifically with disabilities get scholarships. I was a Black scholar at my school, a Getty scholar at my school. I was talking at the donor events, the dean events.
Yeah.
I was good.
Right.
So when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, like, literally. Like, I stopped questioning, like, can things happen to me? I feel like growing up, I used to be like, oh yeah, that can't happen to me.
Right.
When I would hear somebody get robbed at gunpoint, I'll be like, how'd you let that happen?
Yeah,
you let somebody sneak on you and put a gun to your head?
Right.
Until it happened to me.
Yeah.
You know? And so, honestly, I feel like that was a pivotal point of my business because that's when I transitioned back home to Atlanta.
Okay.
But I would say, like, my first year of school, I was like being the mama out of the group, honestly. Like, I seen my friends kind of letting loose when it came to being their first year of college. And that made me have more of a guard to be like, okay, at least I have to be the person who knows what's going on.
I gotta take care of y'all.
No, for real. And so now, like, had I known that I only would have spent a year and a half in college, like before COVID, because when I went back home, that's when everybody was online. Had I known that, girl, it would have been a different story.
It would have been
a different story.
I hate that because my first year of college,
man.
Girl, let me tell you, I had a 1.4 GPA.
Oh, so you was having fun.
I was having a blast. Do you hear me? Okay, I was doing it up.
That's
but
so funny.
I think that's the time you experience. Now, I had to climb very far to graduate for the next 4 years. Okay, summer school every year.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like I remember that year and all I could do is smile because
that's why I'm happy you have that smile.
Like,
because mine is like I was the mama. I hope they can thank me for protecting them.
Right.
But
they need to send you a card.
That was the role I took.
Yeah.
And growing up with my mom, like, it made sense that I would take that role. Just the way she raised me, like, it just made sense.
So out of all your siblings, like, do y'all have like a party sibling? If you're over here on YouTube watching the podcast, listen, I need you to do me a favor. If you love me, do me this favor. Pull out your phone right now and go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts or anywhere that you actually listen to podcasts at, right? I need you to subscribe and leave a review. Listen, the way podcasts work is the streets don't know we doing good if it's not on the audio version. The YouTube version don't really count, okay? So go over there, leave us a review, and let us know how how much you love the podcast. Now back to the episode.
Well, I feel like we're all kind of different. Like, it's kind of like two sets of two. That's how my mom. So, like, I'm a young one, and then I have a older sister who I kind of cling to, Freddie. We're more like, I feel like the scholastic route. Okay. And then there's like Graylia and Alex, and I feel like they're more like marketing. They're like bosses, like in their own way. So it's kind of like two sets of two. It's like a mentorship, I feel, throughout this sisterhood.
I love that. So do y'all all work together, or how does they work? Or do everybody have their own business?
Yeah, so everybody has their own things that they focus on. Like one is in healthcare, one is a store operator, one is in like hospitality. But I did hire one of my sisters. So the one who was the first one to do this whole scholarship process. Yes. She had to teach me everything, and I had to hire her own to help me. So she works for me in capacity of like both the scholarship and grant practices.
Okay, so how does it working with your sister? Like, because this is your older sister. Yeah. So it's like, I'm the boss, but I know you used to beat me up sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, so how does that work?
I feel like it's good. Okay. Like, I feel like it's so good. It's easy. It's easy to talk to her. And again, like, she was the one who helped me see bigger than what I was seeing. So yeah, we don't have no problem. She's really smart, so I depend on her for all of her like expertise and her advice. So it's going good.
I love it.
I actually like a lot of my friends work for me in a lot of different capacities. Like, I've always been that type of person where even
the mom.
Like literally like even the way I hire is like, okay, what are you good at? Yeah. What are your strengths, and how can I find that, you know, within my company? Right. That's how I hire people. And so like my friends are marketers. I have a grant writer. I trained one of my friends to help me with grants. So, and she's won many grants for me. So I feel like I'm always the person who's trying to make people entrepreneur. Like, you have all these skills. Why aren't you freelancing? Right. Like, you know,
hello, we need you.
Exactly. So I feel like I'm always been that person to kind of like uplift people and let them see the value in what they're doing. And I pay well. Like, I was always the type of person, like, I'm not taking a free internship. Right. Like, I get it, but not me. And so even people who work for my company,
door already making $60K, profiting $60K.
So like even people who work for me, I'm like, I make sure that I pay them pretty well, and you know.
I love that. So developing this business, what do you feel like has been one of your biggest struggles, or like what's the ghettoest thing you think of when you think about being a CEO?
Yeah, I think it's just like having to think about everything. Like, I'm constantly asking people like, do y'all turn off y'all brain sometimes? Is it just me who like thinking about, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. I'm making all these to-do lists. It's just so much that you have to think about. And also just being like a service provider. I don't think people recognize how much energy transfer there is. Like, I'm helping people articulate their stories, meaning I know thousands of challenge stories, obstacles, greatest accomplishments, community service stories, leader. I don't know how my brain does it. I have great capacity, obviously. But I think that's like also one of the most ghetto things is just, you know, people trying to challenge your pricing because you are the CEO and I am young, you know, and I might get on the phone like, hi, it's Victoria Lamar. And they're like, can I ask how old are you? I'm like, geez, what like that, like for real. So I think that is ghetto. Just, you know, I do like promotionals, but giving people like big discounts, I learned that I can't do that no more because the time I did that, I gave somebody a discount and they expected way more than everybody who was paying full price. And I'm like, that is so ghetto. Like, are y'all calling our white counterparts and asking them, hey, I just want to know, can you give me a 100% discount? No, you're not doing that. Okay. So I think that's super ghetto, just being a small business, being young, and, you know, a lot of my clients are parents. Like, it's parents who are paying for their students. So I'm talking to parents, even on the grant side. My clients are executive directors. They're head of charter schools. They're CEOs. Yeah. And it's me who's giving y'all the service. So navigating all that has been ghetto. And
I think and I could relate to that 100%, right? And at this point, sometimes I just don't even want to tell people my age. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like.
But it's obvious.
Yeah, right. Like, I know, but like, stop trying to fucking play me. Like, stop, don't play in my face, like, because I'm young. And I think sometimes it's like a gift and a curse because you tell people and they're like, oh my God, like, I can't, you did this at such a young age. Like, I wish I had
people be asking me, like, what does your mom do? Or, like, asking so personal. Oh, you gonna give me the service or not?
Right.
You know, you gonna get it or not. And I think that's like the biggest thing. It's like some people, they're just confused. I'm like, how are you doing all this? How big is your team?
Right.
How are you, man?
Like,
do you want it or not? Do you want the results?
Debit or credit?
Right.
I love it. And then you also mentioned not only like fighting against being young, but just all the other things behind this. I don't know how people don't understand. Like, I think CEOs can relate to that, not being able to turn your brain off.
Yeah, I can't.
It's like, I wish it was a switch.
I wish it was a switch too, girl. You tell me. Maybe.
Like, when I find it, you tell me. You know,
look, it is the hardest thing. You know, another ghetto thing is just like being underpaid for all the roles that we're playing.
Ooh.
Like, the salary that I have myself on, no one would accept that.
No
one.
Because it's a hard job. Truth
I'm
is,
the marketing director, operation manager, the negotiator, the lead closer, the sales caller.
Listen,
the
janitor,
social media planner, the janitor,
the shipper, all of it. Like,
all
why
of it.
I got all these jobs?
Man.
But you have to, because it's like, if you don't,
you have
don't
to
do it.
Right.
I was on the computer in the office last night. It's 12 o'clock at night and I'm tinkering with a little, like, I think I could do this little quiz that we got to do. Like, I'm like, girl, go to bed.
Go
like,
to bed.
What is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, even if you have support, at the end of the day, it's all gonna fall on you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I remember, like, the goal is for you to build a team, everybody, like, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the bills is in your name.
Yes.
Everything is in your name. Everybody, you got people looking at you for their paychecks. You know what I'm saying? And you want to make sure that you can provide them what they need.
Right. And people don't realize, like, it costs thousands of dollars to run these businesses. Like, it's not free. You know, people think like, oh, you making money? Yeah. But how much money is going? Yeah. Like, it's crazy. And but it's extremely worth it. Like,
absolutely.
I'm super proud of myself for everything. Like, we're continuing to grow. But it's definitely like a skill that I realized that not everybody has. Like, we're very unique to be able to balance all of these things because it is a lot. And a lot of people would fumble with this opportunity and platform. Yeah.
So quick. And I think also just thinking about like the mental anxiety that we go through. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves, but also we feel like the business is putting on us and we can't slow down. You know what I'm saying? You can't stop. You can't say, no, I can't. Like, imagine your employee being like, okay, today, payroll day. No, I can't. Like, you can't say.
So how do you manage? Like, cause I've kind of learned to manage, and the way I think about it is like, you know, as an entrepreneur, I know that I might go to zero.
Yep.
I know I might go to the red.
Yep.
I know I'm going to get rejected.
Yep.
I know I'm going to fail.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yep.
Like, all of these things are facts.
Yes.
So it's like, knowing that already, it's like,
that's it.
What is it?
What else is
like,
it?
There's nothing more to expect other than successes. And so I tell people all the time, like, if you become an entrepreneur, if you're about to be a CEO, you have to understand that it's going to go like this.
Absolutely.
So whenever I get rejected, when everything doesn't go my way, and you know, clients always circle back too. So, you know,
spin the block.
Whenever all of that happens, it's like, okay, I can only go up from here.
I can only, and that's the thing. My friend always, Casey always says, think about the best case scenario and think about the worst case scenario. 9 times out of 10, you just gonna fall in the middle.
Right.
So don't, like, as a CEO, we just got to be okay with all the worst case scenarios. You know what I'm saying? I am gonna go to zero. Probably, you know what I mean? Could be tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people you could make $100K tomorrow and be asking for food stamps on the next week. Okay, but it's just the way of life. Like, I literally have friends with 8-figure businesses that one day is all good, they on yachts, all the things, and the next week they like, hey man, it's a little tight around here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's just the way of the world, you know. And so you have to be okay with failure. You have to be okay with this bit, and also take out the personal responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, we are doing a job. Like, think about the CEO of Coca-Cola. You know what I'm saying? He ain't personally responsible for Coca-Cola failing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are the CEO of this company, so this is a job. And so we have to treat it as such.
Yeah. And I think, like, you know, my whole scholarship process and even like how I help my students all of those things I told you were reflective of the scholarship process. Getting rejected, having to meet deadlines, having to hold yourself accountable, you know, understanding that until you meet your goal, you have to keep applying. You have to keep trying. And so, like, yes, I'm helping my students win all these scholarships. They're going to school for free. But the life skills that they're learning are just so transferable. Like, I tell people all the time that it's far greater than the money when it comes to the scholarships. Like, the skills that you'll learn will literally help you in all aspects of life. Like, it's literally, like, the scholarship process trained me to be who I am right now. When it comes to running my business and helping other students do the same.
I love that. Literally using the things. If people would think, what did I go through in life that I could use today? You know what I'm saying? Use today in my business. So if you had to leave the Ghetto CEO audience with anything, what would you say?
I would say the main thing about being a CEO, you have to have grit and you need to make sure that you're constantly persevering. Also, this road through entrepreneurship is long, y'all. This is a very delayed gratification process. That's something that we all have to understand. Sometimes the bigger reward is after that long wait. And so if you're right now, you feel like you might be struggling, or you feel like, you know, I don't know what to do, or everybody's doing the same thing I'm doing, you have to understand that what you have is very unique and you have to keep going. But if you stop, you'll never reap the benefits of your rewards and your efforts. So just keep going. Yeah, that's what I would say.
You gotta have a grit.
You gotta have grit.
You gotta be ready to grind it out. But at the end of the day, you know, it'll be all worth it. But being a CEO is ghetto as fuck, y'all. So thank y'all for listening to this episode of the Ghetto CEO Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you leave a review. Okay, tell us in the comments how you wanna, like just how you love this podcast and how you love connecting with Victoria. Yeah. Thank you, girl.
Of course.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Who the ghetto? Invoice in. That ain't ghetto. Money spin. Oh, that's ghetto. Hold on. It's kind of ghetto being a CEO.